Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Axel and welcome back to another Warframe video. And today I'm going to show you how to level up your Warframes and weapons as fast and efficient as possible. Let's get into it. Now, if you want to know where the best place is to level up both your Warframes and your weapons, then it's Gaia Point in the Ville Proxima. Yes, it's a railjack mission, so you would require access to a railjack and the railjack to have the mod Tether equipped. And when you do have a railjack with Tether, you should expect to complete this mission in around 5 minutes. And when I was doing this during the double affinity event, as well as having an affinity booster equipped, I managed to rank up my Smita from rank 0 to rank 30 in one run and level up 3 weapons at the same time in 3 runs. If not, they would only be rank 29 and then I would have to do a spy mission to max rank them. So that's, if I was lucky, 15 minutes. If not, I would have to do a spy mission, which will then put the total up to around 18 minutes. Now, if you don't have a railjack, there are a few missions in the star chart that I would recommend depending on what you are leveling up. If you're leveling up both your Warframes and weapons at the same time, then I would recommend Hydron on Sedna. It's a defense mission and I would only recommend going to wave 10. If you go up to wave 15, it will slow down your leveling up progress because the amount of time it takes to kill the enemies is not worth the affinity that you get. It's much better to extract at wave 10 and redo the mission. Now, if you don't like playing in a squad and more of a solo player, then I would recommend tier 3 spies. My personal favorites are Kappa on Sedna and Pavlo on Lua. Yes, that's right, I really like the Lua spy. It is a more difficult spy, so I would not recommend it for the newer players. For the newer players or people who aren't really that great at spy missions, I would more recommend Oceanum on Pluto, this mission here, and Kappa on Sedna. If you're leveling up a Warframe specifically, then I would recommend going to Selkie on Sedna using the Steel Path difficulty. It's a survival mission, so using survivability mods on your Warframe is essential. Mods like Adaption, Vitality, Redirection, and Steel Fiber are perfect examples. And as for the weapon that you want to be using a melee weapon that can handle level 150 plus enemies. For example, a Zor with a Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, and Condition Overload build. Here's an example of the build that I use with my Stefan Zor. I do have a Riven, but it can easily be substitute for a 60-60 mod, a 90 Elemental mod, or Gladiator Might to increase your crit damage. And then you also want to be using the Naramon focus tree utilizing Affinity Spike. Affinity Spike increases the affinity that you get per melee kill up to 45%. And then you want to also have Power Spike, so then your melee combo now decays instead of completely going away. Now, if you're leveling up weapons specifically, then I would recommend Adaro on Sedna using Equinox. Equinox will put all the enemies to sleep, so then you will then be utilizing the Stealth Affinity bonus. And the Stealth Affinity bonus is after each kill while being undetected, you get 100% increase affinity per kill, stacking up to 500%. Here's an example of the Equinox build that I use. It is using max efficiency, max range, and a bit of duration. As for your weapon that you're leveling up, you want to equip damage, corrosive damage, so using toxin and electricity, and if required, using a noise reduction mod. That is essential, so then you do not wake up the enemies if your weapon is not innately silent. Now, that is all the missions that I would recommend to level up your Warframes and weapons. But before I go, there are a few tips that I want to give to help you level up your Warframes and weapons that slightly bit faster. Tip number 1 is to unequip your weapons, especially your max rank weapons. This tip applies to the people that are doing Hydron on Sedna, Gaia Point in the Ville Proxima, or any of the tier 3 spies, as you'll be wasting affinity. Tip number 2 is to equip a Smita Kavat. A Smita Kavat can equip a mod called Charm, where you have a 28% chance every 27 seconds to get a buff. And one of those buffs is double affinity. This will act as a double affinity booster for the next 2 minutes every time you get that buff. Tip number 3 is to buy an affinity booster, get an affinity booster from your daily login reward, or wait for an event which yields double affinity. All 3 of these options will double your progress or make it twice as fast to level up your Warframes and your weapons. And if there is an event going on with double affinity, a booster will stack on top of that, so then you'll get 4 times the affinity gains. Anyway, that is all for this video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below or ask me while I'm live on Twitch. Link to that is also below. Thank you for watching. Huh. Well, that's rare.